I've been playing a different kind of World War II game. It is called Warsaw, and it is about the Warsaw Uprising in 1944, where you play Polish citizens that are trying to fight back and resist a Nazi invasion. And it's bleak as hell. It's also quite lovely. It's a very, very well crafted experience in terms of art style and themes that it's trying to present. This idea that you're trying to rally a city and keep morale high and keep your districts protected and safe and find all kinds of different recruits to join this resistance force to fight back this evil invading Nazi force. It's a different type of game as well. It was pitched to me as kind of the Darkest Dungeon type style game set in World War II, and aesthetically it definitely presents that, but there is this obvious historical significance that you feel as you're playing this game, and the way it sets it up is that every day you survive is a gift, but you're also watching the population numbers of Warsaw count down as a new day erupts, and you have to kind of decide what your mission is going to be and how you can best rally your troops to survive another day, which feels like this encroaching dread and doom all the way through it just feels impossible. It feels like you're outgunned, outmanned, and, all the statistics are against you, and we know what happened, of course, and so it's bleak as hell. It's hard not to feel like, oh my God, this is hard going as you're playing the game. That isn't really what you're thinking about, though, as you're fighting the Nazis. It's actually really fun. It's a turn-based tactical role-playing experience where you set up a bunch of your force on a grid, but it's not like Final Fantasy Tactics type of situation or a Fire Emblem type situation. It's almost like they're using graphic novel cutout art, and you've assembled it onto like a two-dimensional stage. And so you've got all of these animated little images, but they're all cel-shaded, and it's just a really cool design. I really like it. So you've got them all on more in a line than a grid, but you've got tiles that you could move each of the different characters to as needed. And each of your characters and each of the enemy characters has different abilities and different weaponry. Some have healing abilities, some have rocket launchers, some have machine guns or flamethrowers. And what you're trying to do is pick the right character, utilize the right ability or the right weapon at the right time to take out the enemy force as quickly as you can in these battles. And that's just an element of the game. The battles end up becoming the meat and potatoes of the experience because they're fun. They do go on a long time, though. It does feel like the ability for enemies to heal themselves and you to keep your characters alive even though they've been shot like crazy and you've run out of ammunition because the ammunition is depleted fast in this game. I had this woman that had a long-range rifle and she was fantastic with it. I was able to take out 2 Nazis at a time or like whittle them down. Took a lot of shots. Like health points into the 50s and 60s and 70s, and it's like, okay, poof, got a 5. Okay, turn, poof, got a 5. Okay, turn, poof, got a 5. So you can feel my pain here. It takes a while to kind of feel like, oh, okay, I crushed these guys, but the art and the animation as you're doing this, whether you're shooting the Nazis fun, or burning them with a flamethrower, or throwing a grenade, the way that they've embellished all of this with the art and the animations is really, really cool. What happens after the battle if you survive? Because if you die, you die, and one of the conceits of the game is if you lose characters, they're gone forever. They're part of that population countdown, which is so dark. But once you finish the battle, you'll collect the loot off of them if your inventory isn't full, and then you'll go back to your headquarters, and you can put the characters that were just in battle into kind of the infirmary and let them heal up a little bit, and then hopefully you've got new recruits and new people to come into your HQ for a bit that you will then go out and send on to new missions. You've also got little sort of narrative bits that pop up, sort of multiple choice kinds of scenarios where you can choose to deliver some flowers or bury a dead body that you encounter along the way. There's lots of looting type options. Are you going to loot this corpse or loot these Nazis? Are you going to venture into that thing? And then what you do is you go and talk to the tactician who's looking at a map and you say, okay, I want to go out on another mission. And then you have this overworld map, which is really elegantly crafted. I was really impressed with the way that the story of the battle is told from this cartoony, comic booky animated map where you are just this little icon and you're using the mouse cursor to track your team through the city streets, but you can find all kinds of nooks and crannies. You can go through these little tiny alleys and duck into corners, and you can see that the Nazi threat is starting to appear. Everything's sort of in the cloud of war, the fog of war, so you don't know where everybody is at first, but as you get closer to a Nazi troop, they will appear, and you can decide whether you want to be seen by them or jump into that sort of red circle of doom and get into your battle, or you can avoid them and then, try to find stuff. But you're counting down action points the whole time, and you don't want to use up all those action points as you're trying to do a patrol mission or go and get some specific materials that you need for your headquarters. There's a lot of different layers. There's like a whole meta experience there where you're just trying to keep it all together, man, in this face of impossible odds and the darkest timeline, It's really, really heavy when you're sitting back playing it, and that kind of bums you out a little bit, but it's crafted so well. And I was really impressed by what this development team has put together here. It's a good idea. It's a cool concept. I expect that there's probably going to be a lot more to come as this game matures. It's available on Steam right now, but I think that the developers are sticking with this, and there's going to be more content kind of streaming in for this title. It's not the kind of game that I would naturally race towards. And truth be told, if I'm playing a tactical turn-based role-playing experience, I'd much prefer to play Fire Emblem. And part of that, truthfully, is the heaviness of the subject matter as well. But it's hard not to respect the artistry here. It's hard not to respect this idea, this concept, to try to present this tale, which must never be forgotten, to this medium and to a generation of people that find their stories through games. I think that's really significant and really worthwhile. I think Warsaw is super cool. And if you like tactical role-playing experiences, if you like the World War II kind of space for the video games that you play, I think you should check it out. I dug it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.